हाँ जी, भाई बंधु कहाँ है तुम्हारे? क्यों? बाकी क्लास में आ रहे हैं कि किसी में भी नहीं आते? हे प्रभु, कैसे दोगे तुम लोग बोर्ड की परीक्षा अगर क्लास में ही नहीं आओगे तो? क्या पढ़ाऊं मैं तुम्हें? चलो बताओ क्या पढ़ना है। अपनी पसंद से बता दो, करा देंगे रिवीजन, नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल। और जब तुम्हारी संख्या कम है तो तुम्हारी चलेगी। कुछ स्पेसिफिक पूछना है तो पूछ लो। सॉइल वाला? अच्छा, सॉइल में क्या पूछना है कार्तिकेय? टाइप्स, चलो ठीक है, देखते हैं। दिखा रही हूँ बच्चों।
Natural resources are all the resources that man finds in nature. This includes forests as
मैम स्क्रीन अटक गई।
India is a land where we face different temperatures and different landforms ranging from high mountains to beaches, from deserts to rainforests. This variety is also seen in the kinds of soils in the country. Let us take a look at the kinds of soil. Let us take a look at different types of soil found in India. The alluvial soil is the most widely spread and important soil. The alluvial soil consists of various proportions of sand, silt and clay. Alluvial soils are very fertile. It is found in the entire northern plains and the eastern coastal plains, particularly in the deltas of the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri rivers. The black soils are black in color and are also known as Riga soils. The black soils are made up of extremely fine, that is, clayey material. They are famous for their capacity to hold moisture. This type of soil is typical of the Deccan region. They cover the plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Red soil develops on crystalline igneous rocks in areas of low rainfall. It looks yellow when it occurs in a hydrated form. Yellow and red soils are also found in parts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, southern parts of the Ganga plain and along the western Ghats. Laterite has been derived from the Latin word later, which means brick. The laterite soil develops in areas with high temperature and heavy rainfall. It is very useful for growing tea and coffee. These soils are mainly found in Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh and the hilly areas of Odisha and Assam. Arid soils range from red to brown in color. They are generally sandy in texture and saline in nature. In some areas, the salt content is very high and common salt is obtained by evaporating the water. After proper irrigation, these soils become cultivable. It is mainly found in Rajasthan. Forest soils are found in the hilly and mountainous areas where sufficient rainforests are available. The soil's texture varies according to the mountain environment where they are formed. It is found in the Himalayan range. Let us look at various ways in which the soil is eroded. Sometimes water flows as a sheet over large areas down a slope. In such cases, the topsoil is washed away. This is known as sheet erosion. On flat lands, natural forces like wind, glacier and water lead to soil erosion. The running water cuts through the clayey soils and makes deep channels as gullies. The land becomes unfit for cultivation and is known as bad land. Human activities like deforestation, excessive grazing of cattle, and use of harsh chemicals in pesticides can also lead to soil erosion. To prevent soil erosion, we can use the following methods. Steps can be cut out on the slopes, making terraces. Terrace cultivation restricts erosion. Large fields can be divided into strips. Strips of grass are left to grow between the crops. This breaks up the force of the wind. This method is known as strip cropping. Which of these places does not have black soil? Select the correct option and click Submit.
Jammu and Kashmir.
Yes, Kartikeya. Good
Ma'am,
enough?
yes ma'am, Jammu and Kashmir answer इसका.
Okay, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. चल ठीक है, क्विज भी खेल लेते हैं.
Jammu and Kashmir has forest soil, not black soil. Which of these states has arid soil? Select the correct option and click Submit.
बताओ.
Rajasthan.
Okay.
Excellent. Rajasthan is a desert and has arid soil. There are various kinds of soil in India. Of them, alluvial soil is the most important. The others are black soil, red and yellow soil, laterite soil, arid soil, and forest soil. Soil erosion is caused due to deforestation, overgrazing, construction and mining, or even wind and water. Terrace cultivation, strip cropping, and contour plowing are effective ways to stop soil erosion.
Karthik, do we need anything else in this chapter to look forward to?
नहीं मैम यही देखना था.
Okay. Yes, Ashna, what do you want in eco? Ashna? फिर भी एक चैप्टर तो बोलो जो मैं शुरू करूं वहां से. Then we can go ahead from there. Pick one chapter, हम वहां से चालू करते हैं. Whichever you say, we have a lot of time. और मैं तुम लोगों की सारी इच्छाएं पूरी करना चाहती हूँ. ग्लोबलाइजेशन एक बार देख लेते हैं. Oh, our thoughts match.
Sameer has gone on a business trip to Hong Kong. While in Hong Kong, Sameer decides to visit the local market to purchase some electronic goods to bring back home. At the electronics store, he asks the storekeeper to show him the latest model of Crystal TV. To his amazement, the storekeeper asks him if he wanted the Crystal TV manufactured in South Korea, China, Malaysia or Indonesia. Confused, Sameer asks the shopkeeper how the TV of the same make can be manufactured in so many different countries. The shopkeeper enlightens him that although Crystal is a South Korean company, it has factories all over the world, including an assembly plant in India. What induces companies such as Crystal Manufacturing to have factories all over the world? Let us look at factors that have allowed companies to set up their units across the globe. Crystal is a multinational corporation or an MNC that invests money by buying land, buildings, machines and other assets in other countries after careful planning. This investment is termed as foreign investment. Why do companies invest in other countries? One of the most important reasons is the easy availability of cheap and abundant skilled and unskilled labor in developing countries. This attracts many foreign companies as it lowers the cost of manufacturing. Favorable government policies of the host country, such as low import rates and reduced trade barriers, also encourage such companies to set up plants in other countries. Another factor is the growing economy and the huge local market of some places, especially countries that already have a large population. The attraction for setting up a factory at a particular location is to ensure that many neighboring countries present a growing market for the products of these companies. The MNCs spread their manufacturing units by setting up assembly plants. In such cases, the individual parts are transported and assembled in countries which are closer to the markets where these products are to be sold. By spreading their production process across the world, MNCs save a lot, thereby increasing their profits. While the factories of an MNC may be located in one location, it is possible that the product's design and development may be done in another country which has modern research centers. In this way, the MNCs manage to get maximum advantage of all the inputs needed to make their product at highly competitive rates. It is not always that an MNC may set up factories in the host country. Let us look at some other ways by which they spread their business. One way by which MNCs spread their influence across the globe is by buying local companies which have a broad local market base. This helps the MNC to rapidly expand their business in this new market after the acquisition process is over. Some MNCs also buy local products from a number of small producers who are located all over the world. They then sell these products under their own brand name. Sports goods, garments and footwear are a few products where this method is prevalent. Thus, multinational corporations possess money and power which enables them to set up branches and factories across the world. Think about this and discuss.
In Dadaji's younger days, most of the electronic items available in India were products that were manufactured abroad. These goods were available only to a few who received them either as gifts from friends and relatives living abroad or purchased them when they traveled abroad. Most of these foreign-made commodities occupied a space of great pride in most of the Indian homes where they were found. However, today things are different. We find a host of goods ranging from electronics to food items, clothes to footwear, books to cosmetics from all over the world, easily available in our Indian market. What has caused this change? One of the most important factors to cause this change is liberalization. Liberalization is the lifting of barriers and restrictions on foreign trade by governments across the world, thus allowing the opening up of global markets. This opening up of markets has led to the increase in international trade, foreign investments, and MNC participation. The use of modern information and technology solutions has further enabled trade. Now, the remotest areas can be contacted and the required information exchanged instantly. In simple terms, all these factors have caused the different markets of across countries to integrate with one another. This has facilitated the interchange of goods and services between nations. This integration or interconnection between the countries is called globalization. To define it further, globalization is the process of the world becoming interconnected through trade and cultural exchange. As a result, exchange of goods, people, food, information, and ideas across the world has become faster. To encourage this free and smooth flow of international trade, the World Trade Organization, or WTO, was established on 1st January 1995, with its headquarters in Geneva, in Switzerland. In the year 2008, over 153 countries were member nations of the WTO. But what role does the WTO play in the free and smooth flow of trade? The WTO provides the framework for the rules and regulations of international trade and also serves as a platform to settle trade disputes between member countries. It also provides technical assistance and training for developing countries and is in cooperation with other international organizations for the smooth negotiation of trade agreements. It ensures that no barriers hinder trade between different countries. But has it really succeeded? In reality, the unfair implementation of the WTO's rules have forced the developing countries to relax their trade barriers, whereas some of the developed nations have kept their barriers intact. Let's see one example of this. Developed countries give extensive subsidies to its farmers, ignoring the WTO rules and making it easy for their farmers to sell their produce at low prices in the international market. On the other hand, developing countries have been pressurized to withdraw many subsidies earlier given to farmers, who form the major portion of the country's workforce. Hence, these farmers are forced to sell their produce at a higher price in the international market, where they lose out to the sellers from developed countries, selling at much lower rates. This has caused a huge divide between the farmers of the developed and the developing world, where the latter suffer due to the unfair implementation of the WTO guidelines. This has adversely affected the economies of developing countries like India, where the agricultural sector provides the bulk of employment and contributes significantly to the gross domestic product of the country. Think about this and discuss. Roughly 2 decades back, Indian towns and cities looked like this. Modern information and technology, improved transportation, and huge inflow of foreign investment due to the new liberal policies has changed the face of India. The introduction of the cellular and internet services has changed the mode of communication. These services now keep the masses updated on the latest developments of the world at just the click of a button. This exposure is shaping people's understanding of the world. With the introduction of modern means of transportation, specially improved aviation policies, air transport has become economically viable, allowing for easy flow of people and goods. Simultaneously, bulk goods can be transported in large containers from one country to another through large container ships at lower costs. With the change in government policies, Huge flow of foreign investment has found its way into the country. This has helped to propel economic growth. As a result, the landscape of many a city in the country has changed vastly. This is only one of the indicators of how globalization is impacting our lives. Click the highlighted images to learn more about the impact of globalization in India. Small establishments have been replaced by big industries, largely set up by the MNCs who have invested heavily in fields like electronics, automobiles, fast food, and services like banking. These provide job opportunities to the locals. It is also an opportunity for local suppliers of raw materials to do business with these companies. The small eateries are being replaced by big restaurant chains which have outlets across the world. These usually serve food that can be prepared and served quickly. The consumers of the country, especially the ones in urban areas, experience several advantages of globalization. With the arrival of multinational brands, they have access to a vast range of clothes, footwear, sports goods, exotic fruits and vegetables, all at their doorstep. The arrival of these foreign goods has led to a stiff competition amongst the manufacturers. These manufacturers have now lowered the prices of their goods while maintaining the product's quality or even improving it in some cases. As a result, the consumers enjoy a better standard of living. The arrival of the multinational companies has benefited many local companies. These companies are now adopting new technology to better their means of production. In some cases, the local company has even collaborated with the foreign companies. This has given rise to competition in the manufacturing sector, as each company wants to reduce the cost of production and increase profits. Many Indian companies too have acquired stakes in companies overseas, and as a result have emerged as multinationals themselves. All is not well with the concept of globalization.
चलिए आगे का फिर हम नेक्स्ट क्लास में कंटिन्यू करेंगे. सो दैट विल बी ऑल फॉर टुडे. थैंक यू एंड सायरा.